Radical.
So, been eating some Peter Pan honey roast creamy peanut butter tonight with saltine crackers and watching Resident Evil. Not one of the movies. There's a new Netflix show. What is this called? Is it just called Resident Evil? Yeah, Resident Evil. That's what it's called. Now, I got a lot to say about the first 5 episodes that I have seen and whether or not I will continue watching the final episodes. So here's the deal. I've seen Rant upload thumbnails. I haven't gotten to check any out yet. I just typed it in and I wondered what does YouTube, apologies for the notification. I said, what does YouTube think about this new series from Netflix? Now, Cowboy Bebop was not good. There's several instances on Netflix to where, not surprisingly, either a show is completely shit or they change a lot of things around. And they blackwash white characters. That's what I call it, blackwashing. They make people lesbian couples, and there's a lot of that in the show. There is. Like the boss of one person who I'll get into is a lesbian, but she also has gigantic fun bags to be so thin. So I enjoyed the scene where she was doing Pilates. Now, who is she the boss of? She's the big umbrella boss. She's the boss of Albert Wesker. Now, you remember Albert Wesker, right? In the games. Antagonist. Black shades. The only thing on Albert that was black was the shades. And the big hair. And, the fact that he was a white gentleman. I think it played into the story. Something that played into the story. I forget what it was. But basically, he was not a black person. He was not a bald person. And he wasn't wearing eyeglasses. He was wearing sunglasses. So those are characteristics of this antagonist. Okay. So here's what Netflix did. Is they got themselves a black person to portray this person that is white. This happens a whole lot. And in this particular instance, I was thinking I would lose my collective mind. Actually, I didn't really care a whole lot. I thought I would lose my collective mind. I'm not the hugest fan of Resident Evil, but if there's a true diehard fan of Resident Evil out there, I could see somebody losing their mind over this. I would lose my mind over this if it was it's a bad casting for the character, but if it was a bad actor. It's not a bad actor. This guy is a good actor. He's a very good actor. I remember him from the John Wick movies. This guy's good. He's damn good. And I think he's one of the few bright points, actually ironically, in the show. Isn't that weird how it works? I thought the thing that would bother me the most is actually one of the brightest points from it. I'm 5 episodes in. And in the first episode, had a big action scene. Maybe think about that game Dying Light, where at night I run out to take on the zombies and you have to run back to your safe house. And I noticed right away, there's a big focus on cute little bunny rabbits. And there was ominous music whenever the bunny rabbits were on screen. Okay, it's kind of weird and out of place. These zombies, they're fast. They're not slow. These are some fast-running zombies. As fast as a human. Which was kind of strange. I don't know if they explained that. But you see, Wesker has some daughters. He has 2 daughters. And one is I would say quite white. So I'm thinking to myself, I think it's explained later, that they were genetic experiments, or maybe they're not blood daughters. Maybe the one is. I am not sure. Honestly, I kind of zoned out with some of the story. And especially there's a whole lot of teen angst because, the show heavily focuses on the 2 daughters. And, like I said, I zoned out for some of it. And there's even some scenes, callbacks to, there's Moonlight Sonata on the piano. There's a couple other things where you point and you go, I remember that from the games, Action scenes and production. Very good production for a Netflix show, I will say. Probably out of all the Netflix shows I've seen, this one has quite good production, at least in all the fighting and action scenes. There's this one guy that comes out that is leading an umbrella team, and he looks kind of like that guy from The Hangover, but even fatter. Action scenes. They're good. They're good action scenes. There's some really creepy scenes. There's one scene with a zombie in a bathroom that's handcuffed, and for some reason, I think there's a lot of dead cats in the bathtub. I think the wife was feeding cats to the zombie. And what's some other scenes I liked? I mean, there's a couple good scenes. Let's see. Anything involving, like I said, like I'm literally trying to look for some big positives other than the guy from I'm sorry, I forgot your name. The guy from John Wick. What are some positives? Okay, well, there's this one fake out thing they do in the series, which is like, oh, by the way, if you don't want any spoilers, just move along. Because big spoiler is the big thing running through this. The thing that kept me watching mostly was, watching the daughter turn. And I was thinking, okay, they're doing it slow. They had her looking in the bathroom mirror. She was coughing up blood. But then I'm thinking, wait a second. She doesn't turn. Turns out that she has some super DNA that allowed her to fight off the T virus. Interesting plot twist. But I'm thinking, like, okay, I saw her. She was looking in the mirror in the bathroom, coughing up blood. I'm thinking, what? Maybe that was just her getting rid of the virus. I don't know if that was imagined or not. And there's a lot of cringeworthy scenes in there, just with the teen angst and whatnot. I skipped over a lot of them, to be honest. So where I'm at in the show now, I'm at episode 5 at the end of it. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a very mixed bag. Very mixed bag. I mean, if you're a diehard fan of Resident Evil, you're probably not going to like it. Probably going to be very angry and offended, specifically at the casting of a Black Wesker. But like I said, that's one of the high points of the show, believe it or not. Lastly, two things. One conversation I didn't get. I thought was very stupid. Because the black daughter of Wesker, she was talking to somebody, possibly about maybe killing some of the zombies. Which is, what most people would probably look to do in a zombie apocalypse. And then the other person said, well, there's 1 billion of zombies, and there's like 1 million of us, so it makes no sense. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I don't get that reasoning. And the one character at the beginning of the show was using bunny wabbits, and then cutting them or putting some blood on the bunny rabbits to draw the zombies out, to study the zombies. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't get that. I don't get that. You want to study the zombies? I think this might be the first take on the zombie stuff where they're studying zombies and not killing them. Also, one thing I didn't like is a lot of the stuff that's pushed into the show about being vegan or the PETA stuff. It was just kind of like rammed down your throat occasionally. And there were some other instances of that, but it doesn't really surprise me. It just kind of like stuck out. I'm like, this is a Resident Evil show, right? It's supposed to be about Resident Evil. I don't remember any of this PETA stuff in the Resident Evil games. I don't. Now, on to one final positive, the enemies. The fights with the enemies. Specifically the spider fight. I really like the spider fight. And the lickers. It even said the lickers. It got their name right. It even said the lickers into the subtitles. And those lickers looked badass. They really freaking did. There's another enemy I'm not sure. You know what I'm looking forward to? I want to see me some hunters. Yeah, I want to see me some hunters. So, yeah, definitely a mixed bag. I would say I dislike it more than I like it as the show. I was just mostly just kind of hanging on to see the next enemy, what they would do with the next enemy type, how that would look. And any scenes with Black Wesker were pretty good, I would say, even though I just don't get the casting.